Ladies and gents, welcome back to The Random. It's your host, Smallwood Worldwide. Back again with the Goodman brothers, as you can see, for our Takeoff Sports Talk segment. Now, today's episode is called She Drives Me Crazy. And guess what? We're going to be talking about all kinds of crazy stuff this season with the NBA, our top 5 worst run sports franchises in history. Also, top 5 NBA busts, right? Might not be what you think. So tune in here. But before we go ahead and get things started, shout out to Aj, Greg, T. We're going to make this thing crack. Let's go ahead and do that. So, first of all, NBA season has been all over the place, all kind of injuries happening. We don't really know who's going to be able to take it. There's no clear front runners. However, there's a clear front runner for Bust of the Year. I'm talking about none other than Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole, who had the brightest of futures here when he was with the Golden State Warriors and Steph Curry. Turned out to have a bit of a comical career right now in Washington. And I just want to know, fellas, what do we think about Jordan Poole this year? Arch, kick us off.
Wow. I was honestly expecting this to take a different turn. I wasn't thinking about the Jordan Poole. I don't know how to say it other than he's
not a pool party.
He's a non-effing factor, dude. He's like a comic book character out there, man. He's like a cartoon out there, man. Him and Kuzma is a laugh factory. They're already eliminated from the playoffs. It's March. I mean, it's trash, dog. There's only one guy that's worse than them, who I was going to talk about later. But I mean, well, I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say there's one guy worse than him because I don't think he's terrible. But the problem with Jordan Poole is that his position is that of a 1. He's supposed to be the leader of a team, and he's not that. I mean, not to mention he's a munch. Is it munch? He's a munch. He's a munch.
He's a munch.
Picking out Ice Spice out the dinner. Trick Daddy MCs, and I don't know now. You know what I mean? Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, so he's a munch, and I believe that he might be a guy who plays off of confidence, and his confidence is at an all-time low. Not only did he get laid down, although he did get one of the best verbal jabs in that I've heard in a while. He did get laid down by Draymond. He shouldn't feel too bad about that because I have a feeling that Draymond can fight really well.
Saginaw hands.
Yeah, Saginaw, all right. So I got a feeling that
I want the Saginaw paws on you, bro.
Yeah, I got a feeling that he shouldn't feel bad about that. But I mean, you compound that with Golden State's run ending and then them shipping him out, and then although he is the number 1 in Washington, you got the feeling that, at least from the photo shoot day, that he didn't necessarily want to be here. And then you combine that with your number 2 is Kuzma. That's a lot, man. So I think his confidence is just at an all-time low, and he's had a terrible season. He's played comically, and his whole season can be summed up in a play where I think that he was coming down on a fast break. After this is the play before, he had dove on the floor or something to that effect. Then he gets the ball on a fast break and he slips on the same spot that he had dove and turned the ball over. And this was with a couple of seconds left in the game. So that's been his whole season. So that's my Jordan Poole take, and I'm sticking to it. And that's how it was back in my day,
Back in your day, back in the other day. It's the same as today. Listen, I'll be brief about this and I'll pass it to G. I think Jordan Poole's a terrible team player, and I also think he lacks IQ on the court. The amount of mistakes that he makes waving people off. There's a guy that's well, no, we're not. Yeah, I guess I'll give it a thumbs up. There we are, right? Correct. The internet agrees. I think that he goes to the bucket, and when they already have a big man down there capable of blocking shots, he'll travel to try to get a layup that still gets blocked. He'll trip over his own feet. He'll bounce the ball off his foot. It's just, it goes from being laughable to me wondering, why is this guy not in the G League at this point? Because if I'm the head coach, I mean, listen, even his points per game down, right? And basketball is a game about more than just scoring buckets, right? In Golden State, that was pretty much what he was asked to do. It's easy to come off the bench when you got the legendary Splash Brothers and have a organized system going there, right? But when you have to lead a team, the first aspect of that, you got to be a team player. You got to be able to coexist with your teammates. And he waves off guys routinely who are wide open. And sometimes it's like he's in his own world and the teammates know the play, but he doesn't care. He's just going to do what he wants to do. And so when you watch that, it's pain. It's pain. I expect him not to be in a Washington jersey next season. G, what you got for us?
Right.
Well, Jordan Poole is a Shaq and a Fool all-star. He's the Shaq and a Fool MVP.
There you go.
I've never seen so many bloopers so fast in someone's career who's supposed to be a number one in my life. This is a JaVale McGee level of buffoonery in a Washington Wizards uniform. It's outrageous.
Relax, God. JaVale.
And I have the highest of hopes for him. Yo, I was thinking to myself that Jordan Poole is about to be an all-star this year. I thought he was he's more world star than all-star. I'm like, okay, he's got his own team. The chains are off. He can do his thing, create. I expected this man to be averaging 27, 28 points this year. I didn't expect the Wizards to be like in the playoffs or anything, but I expected him to have a great season. Turns out he's a bad player. He's a bad leader, and he's a bad decision maker. He's a bad teammate, and he's just got a bad haircut now. Like everything about him is bad.
That's low. That is low.
And
it's true.
It's upsetting. It's upsetting to me because I had very high hopes for him. I really was pulling for this dude, and I can't do it no more. And and look, usually I don't usually hold on to the last minute. It took me till about week 3 to be like, oh, this ain't it. He's done. Yep. I was just like the first couple of games, I was like, a little rusty. He'll get there. He's a little uncomfortable. And then I was like, oh, maybe he's not uncomfortable. Maybe he's too comfortable. Maybe he needs to go ahead and have a seat. Maybe you sit him down. Right now, I would trade him for Kellogg's stock. That's how bad he's playing.
Listen, and Kellogg's would think that's a bad trade on their behalf. That's how awful he is. There you go.
Yeah. Trash.
What's your thoughts there, T?
I apologize. I'm having a hard time keeping it together, man. Y'all practice.
Crazy.
I wish that I could say that I was surprised, but if you guys recall, even during the Warriors championship run, yours truly called him a bum. What I saw out there, I always felt like he was a poor man's version of Jordan Clarkson, who, his whole job is to get buckets, and he gets them. It's up a lot of shots to get them. Eventually he does, but I can't really say the same about Jordan Poole. Everything that you guys said is right on point. I don't need to add to that. I will say that, under his leadership, he's led the Wizards to 40 games back out of first place. I think they've got about 11 wins this year, and he has looked terrifically as I expected.
Insane. I'm just curious, who do y'all have?
TJ was 100% right.
Yeah.
We had a discussion about this. I was like, Jordan's going to be fine. Turns out I was dead wrong on this one. I got to take my hat off to you, sir, because you had that one 100%.
What I saw back then was exactly what you guys are saying now.
Man.
Yeah, it was just surrounded by great shooting, great defense, and a great coach.
His responsibility was so low on the Golden State. He did literally probably the only thing that he would need to do to stay in the league, or how he got in the league, was just score buckets. But that was on second unit stuff. So
when I saw the playoff game where he kind of just dismissed Steph and threw up that brick that barely made the rim, I was like, yeah, that's not it. That's not it.
He was like a logo shot or something.
Huh?
What'd you say?
I said that was a long shot too. It was like a logo shot or something, from what I remember.
That's a Dame level shot or a Steph level shot. That's it. Sabrina Ionescu was third.
You think he yells YOLO when he shoots? Like, you're like YOLO.
He's black now. He's black enough. He probably does.
Outrageous.
I got another name for y'all here in terms of bust this season so far. Very disappointing players, right? Let's phrase it that way. DeAndre Ayton, formerly of the Phoenix Suns, now with the Portland Trailblazers, getting stuck in ice when everybody else made the game. He also called himself a max player, which I thought was just bizarre because I watched him in Phoenix surrounded by some of the best talent that you can't buy. Kevin Durant, I don't know. Got Devin Booker, I don't know. Rebounds coming down. It's literally your job to grab the rebound. And he watched the ball go. He watched other people get it. And I'm like, is he just not motivated to play? Like, I don't know. It's rough. It's rough seeing guys like that struggle. And then it sets back the Portland Trailblazers, who always have been kind of a bit of a cursed franchise as well. So, yeah, those are tough. What do y'all think about coaches? Any coaches stand out to y'all?
I mean, it's early for
really.
this particular coach.
Oh,
I was gonna say Doc. I could have gone Pop because his team is the way that the Spurs play is trash. Like they just recently were like, hey, maybe if we get Wemby the ball, we got a shot. It's like they just figured that out recently. And Pop was like, maybe if we got Wemby the ball closer to the basket, maybe he would score more. I mean, like I know I'm going off on Pop, but Doc taking a team that was I mean, they've turned it around some, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be within the playoffs. I mean, I still think the Bucks can come out of the East in spite of how overwhelming the Celtics look, but I'm going to have another one of those. It's not Blake's fault. Press interview.
Giannis to the shop. Giannis to the shop.
Nah, I agree. Popovich has been like the worst this season. I would have as a close second, and it pains me to say this as a Lakers dude, but Darvin Ham, I thought he was going to be like a defensive guru coming out, and the Lakers have a lot of talent, and it just seems like he doesn't know how to coach these guys up. That's what it's starting to come across as. And I'm like, what are you going to say?
I don't think they have a lot of talent.
Yeah.
I think they have.
Well, I'll put it to you like this. This is the problem with the Lakers. The Lakers have an outdated team, and outdated by that I mean their style of play. They're still playing like it's 2002. That's their problem, and their team is set up like it's still 2002. That's why they're having a hard time defensively, and offensively. You need more shooters.
They have a 7 seed roster, in my opinion. They might outplay that. They might outplay that roster. Like when they get to the playoffs, they might because their superstars can superstar.
True.
Yeah. But they have like a 7-6 seed roster, man. I mean, and that's fact.
I'll say this as far as Devin Ham goes, or Darvin Ham. If they make the playoffs, they can beat probably anybody in the West except for the Nuggets. That's what I think. Well, that's just because
Mike Malone's a great coach.
Yeah. Well, they're a great coach, and they've got a great team with great chemistry. I mean, barring any injuries, they're going back to the finals with no problems and more than likely winning. Now, as far as Doc Rivers, he put himself in a bad position.
Oh yeah,
because if they don't win, this is not in, well. I can't say if they don't win. If they don't make it to the finals, this is all going to fall on him. It's not going to fall on Dame. It's not going to fall on Giannis. It's not going to fall on anybody else. It's going to fall on him because the appearance is that he backstabbed the coach that they had to get that job and get in there. So he's in trouble if they don't make it, at least to the finals. Now, with Popovich, I'm not sure if this is a bad coaching job by Popovich or Popovich is just like, yeah, fellas, go ahead out there and have fun because I've got my eye on somebody else who we're going to team up with next year. We're going to dominate.
I got to say this. So I
don't know if that's what Pop is doing right now.
It's a good point.
There is a guy that
because that's the kind of stuff that he does.
There's a guy that Pop is starting that should not be in the NBA. That guy, Jeremy, was it?
Talking about the dude with the blonde hair?
Jeremy Sochan should not be in the NBA at all.
I agree.
At all. He is the
Well,
worst
I'll
player
tell
I've
you
ever seen play in the NBA. And I've seen Charlie Ward. So I don't know what's
Whoa. We're not gonna slander Charlie Ward.
Hey man. Charlie Ward owes Sam Cassell his checks. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Man, there's a couple people that owe Sam Cassell their checks. Sam Cassell's he's a great coach.
Yeah.
Well,
He should, yeah.
I said that because Sam Cassell played with him in Florida State, and people was watching because Sam Cassell was on the team, and they was like, "Well, you get Charlie Ward too." So yeah, all right, man.
Yo, so you say the worst player that you ever saw, the dude from San Antonio, right?
I've never seen a player worse than Jeremy Sochan get minutes like that. He's getting minutes.
That's a good segue, right? So
I'll say this: chances are, if he's doing that bad at San Antonio, it won't be long before he's in a Wizards uniform.
On that note, T, who do you have as your top 5 NBA busts in history? And how do you define bust, by the
way? There's a lot of definitions for bust, but I'm mostly, I guess I'll go with either high expectations, really low performance, or just straight up just can't win, can't get right. So you want the whole list from me? Because I have. Go ahead.
Yeah, you can give us a top 5 for sure.
All right, so I got a player, I got a couple of teams, and I got a coach. All right.
A whole bust team?
A whole bust team for top. Okay.
Yes, indeed.
Oh, I gotta hear this.
I'll start with the team, or the 2 teams. So one of them, pretty recent, the 2021 Brooklyn Nets.
He named the year. He yearbooked them.
Agreed.
And they are
I agree.
I can't disagree with that at all.
Yeah, they had it all. They had that all. Women and the game. They had the whole thing. And blew it. They blew it. They should have had it. So the other team.
I'm gonna talk about them a little bit later. But go ahead.
Okay. All right. So yeah, I'll be quick because I want to talk about this coach here at the end. But the other thing I got is the 2011-2012 Bobcats. But that was like the short season. But they were so horrible, man. Their win percentage was 10% or something like that.
Yeah.
And the crazy part is also lost the draft lottery on top of it all. Just a complete cluster. The whole thing was just an awful.
Sounds like the Bobcats to me. Sounds like the Bobcats to me.
Yeah. I don't say that's a bust. I say that's consistency.
That shit is right on brand.
Yeah, it was hard for me to find one of the years. I had to pick a year. But yeah, because either them or the Wizards teams from, I don't know, 2024. But anyway, the player I got is Anthony Bennett, if y'all remember that dude.
Oh man, I'm about to switch my list up.
I remember him.
Yo,
I do.
I'm about to switch my list up, beloved. Actually, I'll let it slide. Yo, I'm gonna let you rock on that. That is Anthony Bennett.
Yeah, he was the number 1 pick by the Cavs in 2013. They passed up on a lot of good players that they could have chosen. But for his career, he averaged about 4 points, about 3 rebounds. As a number 1 pick, he was just a disaster.
That might have been the worst year drafting in the NBA history.
Yeah, that was bad.
Now, my last one, fellas, is a coach. His name is Roy Rubin. I don't know if you guys ever heard of him. This is a crazy story. So he coached the 76ers 72-73. Well, not even the whole thing, right? So here's the crazy part. So he was coaching at Long Island University, right? And his record was like I wrote it down here. 174-94. So, he was all right. Now, he found a listing for a head coaching position in the classified section of the Philadelphia Inquirer.
Oh, wow.
He finds that, and a friend of his talks to the GM on his behalf, and they end up giving him the job, right?
Jesus.
He's got no NBA experience whatsoever, and they hired him. And I guess back in them days, going to the 76ers was a death sentence. So the team started 0-15. This mug lost 40 pounds in the first 3 months from stressing out because they were losing so much. So in the end, he was fired after 51 games, and he never
wow.
again. So his record was 4-47. That was it. He just hung it up.
I'll be honest with you. I don't find that man a bust. He's an inspiration. He's done what I've done at every job I've ever had.
Well, it was a good story, though, right?
By the time you find out, it's too late. Give you money.
All right, but that was my list, Antoine. That's what I got.
No, nice. Aj, what you got?
Oh, caught me mid sneeze. Man, that Anthony Bennett one. I gotta say that's the second to none. That's a chef's kiss on this subject here. But I got 5. Some of them are based on. I would say most of them actually are based on what they were projected to do and what they ended up doing. The classic example of this, and it could be for a variety of reasons, by the way. Now this is not racist, praise the Lord, but the classic example is someone like Sam Bowie is one of the guys who I put down as an all-time. Yeah. It wasn't necessarily his fault. Neither was it for this next guy who I'll name, which is Greg Oden. I expected big things out of Greg Oden.
You call him a bust though, even though he was just like more injured. I thought Oden was good.
He's a bust from the standpoint. First of all, if you make it to the NBA, personally, I don't think you're a bust. That's my personal. However, for what I expected him to be, I expected him to be another one of these great centers. You know, be a part of the great center moving forward.
He was supposed to be the next Bill Russell.
Yeah, well, he just never got an opportunity to. Honestly, his body very quickly.
I don't consider him a bust, but because of the injuries,
I do. I
think if he was came back a little bit like later on, like he would be like Embiid. I think not as far as like the offense, but he could have held on long enough and had enough surgeries, and the surgeries would have been good enough now where he could have actually played and maybe lived up to his potential.
I think the era that he played in was at the tail end of before people started arresting people. So he didn't benefit from that either. And like I said, I don't mean a bust as in like they're not necessarily good players or even had a career, because he had a career kind of. He played on the Heat for a little while. I think he played on the Celtics for a little while, but Greg Oden was supposed to. Greg Oden, I believe, did he go over? He went over Kevin Durant, right?
He was number 1 overall. Yeah,
went over Kevin Durant. That should just tell you what people weren't. Wasn't the
expectations.
Yeah, Kevin Durant to be good. They were still saying Kevin Durant's going to be good. I digress. This one might be just a personal pick as a T-Wolves fan and as a person who, when he was younger, did like Duke a lot. Christian Laettner, man. I mean, I expected Christian Laettner to come in the league and set that joint on fire, because although historically he's probably not the greatest college player ever, he was certainly the greatest college player of my generation. And that's including like Alonzo Mourning and other cats like that. But you want to probably like cats getting that work. Christian Laettner was giving people work. He was giving people work, man. I don't care what nobody's saying. So for Christian Laettner
it was nasty working when he was in college. And he's on my list too. So I'm gonna piggyback off of you a little bit on this, because I'm not even gonna bother to say it. I'm just gonna join in with yours. He was on the dream team.
Yeah.
And like once you're put on the dream, when they could have put Shaq on there.
Correct.
So he's on the dream team before he has his first NBA game. He is around all this greatness. I expected him to come back during that season with all the knowledge he could have gotten from Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Karl Malone, Charles Barkley, Chris Mullin, the whole list. And he came back and was very subpar.
Sorry.
I mean, he was just not. He should have been much better.
He played with all-time greats, and you would have thought, like you said, he would have absorbed some of that and come back better. But
some life lessons, everything else, just the knowledge of the game alone, he should have been much better than he was. But I'm sorry, Audrey, go ahead.
No, you're good, man. You got Ghostface Killer, and I mean, like, you know. So this other guy this is a weird one. but you gotta if you were there, you would understand. He single-handedly, I think, brought back the hype for St. John's in his day, and he was in a heyday when balls was starting to become, and he was big. He was big in Sports Illustrated. Felipe Lopez. I don't know how many people remember Felipe Lopez.
Oh, yeah.
On my list too.
He was nice.
He was the Dominican Jordan.
Yeah,
he was supposed to be that dude.
Really, really nice. And I'm not saying that he flamed. I believe he played in the league for a little bit, but he did not. He was not Felipe Lopez. Like I heard about Felipe Lopez.
We heard about him. He was actually the first.
Yeah.
He's the first guy I can remember in high school where Sports Illustrated was like making a big deal out of him.
Yeah.
While he was still in high school, they did it for Kevin Durant, but that's not Kevin Durant, Kevin Garnett. But that's because he was coming into the league, and they knew he was coming into the league. Felipe Lopez was a guy who they were predicting to be the next Michael Jordan.
Felipe Lopez was what Kobe Bryant ended up becoming. That's what he was supposed to be.
That's the best way to put it.
That was kind of his.
Should have been that.
And he kind of was the beginning of the end of the whole New York, the overhyping of New York high school players kind of thing. He was like the start of that, unfortunately. Last but not least, and I do mean it in every way, and it could be just because of the draft that he went in, but Darko Nesterovic, A.K.A. the Human Cigar, from the Detroit Pistons.
Another guy on my list.
I tell people this constantly. I said if the Detroit Pistons draft Carmelo Anthony, we probably don't talk about LeBron James
we still talk about him because of overall numbers. But I think Carmelo Anthony. We talk about Carmelo Anthony.
Yeah, I'm talking about for the first 6 or 7 years. I mean, Carmelo Anthony's got 3 rings. If he goes up, in my opinion,
he's got 3 rings, and
nothing else. And they probably was going to bring him off the bench the first year, and then he started over somebody, and then it would just been.
I don't think so. I think they was going to plug him right there, right above Rip Hamilton. He would have been there.
It would have been insane.
Darko ruined the franchise.
They still won. I mean, they still won in spite of that. But they could have been on a 10-year run, and instead they were on like a 4-year run. And that says a lot.
You wasted that pick, man.
They did. He was the only guy who did not hit in the top 6 picks, which is also a rare. I mean, that year was so good. The last player taken in the first round of that year of the draft was Luke Walton.
Bless you.
Luke Walton was a pro for like 10 years. So that should tell you everything you need to know about what was going on in that draft. That's arguably the greatest draft in history, and the only blight on it is Darko. That's as Stephen A. said. So that was my 5.
Darko is this generation Sam Bowie, basically.
He's worse than that.
In my opinion.
Yeah, because Bowie Darko played like 10 years though, and just nothing.
Darko's.
I'll jump in and be brief, right? Because we have some overlap here. So Anthony Bennett, right? He's on my top 5 for sure. He had no business. He didn't even have a passion for basketball, and I just thought that bust automatic. Gameplay on the court didn't translate. Not even going there. Darko Milicic, personal to me because a little known fact, right? I love LeBron James out of high school, but there was this kid out of Syracuse that I had a chance to watch play, Carmelo Anthony. I thought Carmelo, and so it was a freezing cold take if you ever saw one. I thought he was going to be better than LeBron in the pros.
That's not a crazy take, man. Not a crazy take.
It is.
Like he was. But if you watch him at Syracuse,
I remember
he was 02, 03 Melo. Hey,
I'm not saying
valid argument that Melo should have won Rookie of the Year that year.
And I'm not even saying that. I'm saying when I saw them, I knew that career-wise, LeBron James was going to be pretty much what he is.
Sure.
Right, yeah.
I thought Carmelo Anthony was going to be a good offensive player, but that was about it. Everything else he had a bunch of holes and gaps.
Shit.
But I thought that
he wasn't a great passer. He wasn't a great rebounder. He wasn't a great defender. But he can fill it. He was a bucket automatically. Yeah. But LeBron James, when I saw him, I said, "There's nothing he can't do." He's gonna be the best all-around player that this league has ever seen.
Yeah.
I didn't predict it would be this long, but I predicted for 10 to 15 years he was gonna be. I figured he'd be the best player for at least 5 to 10 years in the league.
after his first 5 years in the league, and I saw the way he took care of his body compared to some of his peers, like he was consistently in shape. I saw he got 15 for sure. Like you said, this long?
Yeah, I would have never thought. I thought he would run the league from like 2008 to 2015, 16-ish, and it would be over for him. That was my prediction.
Different, man.
But definitely Darko Milicic for that reason. Michael Olowokandi, and I hated that pick because, first of all, he called himself the Candyman. I was like, yo, the Candyman was respected, yo. He was feared. Like, what are we talking about? I watched this dude ball.
Oh, he was the Candyman. He was sweet out on that court.
Yeah, he turned into it, right? Like,
yeah, he was sweet.
They picked him over Dirk. Okay, they picked him over Paul Pierce. I don't know. I watch a lot of college b-ball. Paul Pierce in Kansas.
Paul Pierce
that dude. And no matter what
people, and Prince.
Oh yeah. I forgot about him. Paul Pierce
Prince. That's another dude that should be on someone's list.
Nah, LaPrince was all right. Yeah, he was okay.
Yeah, but you thought he was going to be much better than he was.
Oh yeah,
that's fair.
He also was taking over Vince Carter. Okay. And Vince Carter was really good at UNC. Like
that means that means he was also taking over Antoine Jameson because they came out.
Yep. It's just it was sickening that I mean, it's a very Clippard thing to do. You know, I'm not a fan of the Clippers, sorry folks, but it's just like, how do you pick Michael Olowokandi when you have Vince Carter, Dirk Nowitzki, all these folks right there? Paul Pierce, at least if you have a front office that's like, we need a proven college guy. Okay, you had a bunch of them. It's just,
it looked like Olowokandi was about to be the next Hakeem Olajuwon.
No, he didn't. He was playing against nobody at the University of Pacific. He did nothing.
Exactly. That's why it looked like he was going to be the next Olajuwon.
He treated him like Nas. He treated him like Nas did Cormac. He's like, he got shot in the thigh. He did nothing. He's like, what are you talking about?
Exactly. That's why he looked that good. He looked like he was going to be the next Olajuwon.
I was like,
playing against pygmies. And he looked good doing it.
Like, go that way. But no, I had Adam Morrison, of course, because, you know, I don't understand what they were thinking, taking him with the Bobcats. Pick number 3, but whatever.
I know what they were thinking. In college, Allison Morrison, he looked like he was going to be the next Larry Bird.
White Mike.
He played against.
He was really good in college. His NBA career, trash.
Yeah. And my last pick, this was personal because, also shout out to Duke University. I'm not a fan of your team. There we go. Danny Ferry back in 1989.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, fair enough.
Second overall pick.
Fair enough. Danny Ferry is
disappointing.
That's a good
stunk to the high heavens.
It's very disappointing.
This is your number 2 pick overall. And I'm like, you can't go based upon a player who looks to be good, surrounded by great talent, right? You have to go through the individual workouts. And at that point, I just realized a lot of NBA front offices don't really do their due diligence because there was no way, even as a kid, that I was taking Danny Ferry over the other guys who were coming out that year.
Only
Danny Ferry. He said, here's the thing with Danny Ferry, and it's the same thing with Christian Laettner because of how the game was played back then.
Yeah.
Christian Laettner and Danny Ferry probably would have fared better in the way the league is now.
Yeah,
they weren't built for the way the league is back then. They weren't particularly strong, and they weren't particularly big, so they couldn't really do much in the paint, and they weren't athletic.
They were good shooters.
They were good shooters. They were good spot-up shooters. And the game was so cluttered back then, and the defense was so different that they would never be wide open to get the jumpers that they needed. They could. Christian Laettner is hell against his own, but you lock him up.
If he plays today,
if he played today, Christian would be all right. Danny Ferry would be all right. All those Duke dudes would have been all right.
Yep. The only one I thought from Duke who would have cut it though, Hurley, before the motorcycle accident.
Yeah, Hurley
would have been good.
Hurley's tough.
Yeah, he's not a bust. I put him and Greg Oden in the same category, and Sam Bowie, as a matter of fact. They're in the category of that's a shame.
Yeah, it's just
that's a shame what happened to him.
Yeah. We need to just a shame what happened to him category. That's a fact.
I put Jason Wilson and Williams in there.
Bo Jackson, a bunch of them. Yeah.
Oh, Penny
Hardaway, Grant Hill,
T-Mac.
Won't be around next year.
Yeah.
People forget T-Mac's 2007 year was nasty, yo.
T-Mac, for athletic ability and ceiling, he could have been one of the best ever.
Yep.
Him, Grant Hill, and Penny, they all had that thing in them, but injuries.
Yeah.
So they all fall in the category of, that's a shame. Because Grant Hill was on his way to being the next Jordan. If Grant Hill would have stayed healthy, there would have been a real life conversation about whose heir this is, Grant Hill or Kobe. Even though there's still a conversation about the era because Allen Iverson was there too.
Yep.
And Tracy McGrady. But if you throw a healthy Grant Hill and a healthy Penny Hardaway in that mix, that might have been the coldest era in basketball ever. I mean, these dudes.
You remember Grant Hill when they had the turquoise jerseys, the Pistons, when they had that redesign? Yo, he was nasty. He was nasty.
Those jerseys were trash, man.
Listen.
Those jerseys were garbage. I like the old joints. I like the Isaiah joints.
Bro.
Oh yeah.
Bro, that was terrible, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That tail with the little motors, the little was it tailpipes and all that?
Oh, tailpipe joints. Yeah.
Goofy.
The horse had flames for hair, man. It was trash.
Yeah. Goofy. It was goofy talk.
She looked like Barney. Some kids from Barney made that, man. It was get out of here, man.
They paid him under the table too. Would you believe it? Is what happened.
It is what it is.
G, what you got for us? Your top 5.
I mean, y'all covered all of my top 5. The only person I got left that I could mention is Sebastian Telfeather.
Oh. Yeah.
That's it.
I can see
Sebastian was supposed to be the next Stephon Marbury.
Yeah.
He was supposed to be that dude. And I think he's actually the last New York dude to have that kind of hype and buzz around him. And he went to the NBA, and it's not the same game as he was accustomed to. He couldn't adjust. He was too small. He didn't really have a great jumper. And I don't know if he really worked on any of that stuff in the offseason to get better. So he just fell by the wayside. I think he's like the last dude that was like a young cat whose father wasn't in the NBA already. They got this kind of pub in high school.
Yeah.
I don't know. Not true. Zion Williams definitely got a whole lot in high school. A pub.
Honorable mention, Dewan Wagner.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Most def.
Like crazy.
Most def.
Crazy hype.
And listen, let's close out, right? Top 5 worst run franchises in sports. Anybody jump in?
Can I go?
Let me just start with the Commanders.
Thank you. I was waiting.
They are the absolute pits. They're trash. They've been trash for 30 years plus.
Yeah.
That's a great pick.
They've been, and the one time that they did actually have a spark and a chance to be something, they screwed it up by letting RG3 play with a busted knee, then got a coach that didn't believe in him, and basically ruined that man's career. They ruined RG3's career, and then let Kirk Cousins mediocre his way out of town.
Oh, that's not a way to talk about the Kirk.
Now they've had, and then on top of that, while in lieu of all that, they're overplaying over the hill stars. Deion Sanders, I love Deion Sanders. He's easily the best cornerback ever. But you don't pay Deion Sanders at 39 years old that amount of money to come play for your team. You don't get Bruce Smith, who's literally on his last leg at this point, and throw all that money at him. And
Dana Stubblefield.
Put him on your team when he's almost done.
Dana Stubblefield.
Yeah, they just, there's so many mistakes had been made throughout this franchise, and they've never gotten together. Name one amazing Redskin quarterback. Name one.
Doug Williams.
In the history of the
Doug
franchise.
Williams was it.
Name one. No, he wasn't even amazing. He was amazing in that game.
He never got a chance to.
Doug Williams.
That's what I'm saying. He's not amazing because they never gave him a real shot. That's one.
Yeah.
Mark
Rippon
was amazing in
1982.
Can't even
they've never had a great quarterback ever. The best thing was Joe Theismann and what's the guy way back in the day? Sonny Jurgensen.
Jurgen, yep.
played back in the 19 teens. They've been trash forever. They've been garbage since Art Monk left. Trash.
That's true too.
While we're keeping it local, the Wizards.
Damn, that's a good one.
The Wizards have traded away so much actual talent, it is ridiculous. The Wizards basically gave Detroit Pistons that won the championship against Kobe, Shaq, Karl Malone, and Gary Payton. That was the Wizards team that they basically gave away for Scooby snacks. They gave away that whole team.
The entire starting five.
Rasheed Wallace, Chris Webber, all of them. And now they're out here blowing their load, giving a dude like Jordan Poole all the money to come out there and look ridiculous night after night. They haven't been good since Wes Unseld left. They had a couple shining moments with an old Jordan and an amazing shooter named Gilbert Arenas, who is literally the only bright spot that's been on that team in the last 20 years.
Another one with injuries.
Yeah, and another one.
Agent Zero was cold.
That's a shame list. Yeah, and I'll tell you right now, if Gilbert Arenas played in the league right now, you talk about a problem. Whew. He had range and he was aggressive. It'd be hard to stop Gil. But yeah, the Washington Wizards, trash. Outright trash.
That's a great
one. All right, next on my list, the Houston Texans. I've never seen anyone give away more MVP potential than these cats. They've had an opportunity. The Houston Texans, yes. Think about who they've given away.
J.J. Watt.
J.J. Watt, Deshaun Watson. Before that, who was the receiver?
Andre Johnson.
Yeah, that's the other receiver.
Hopkins.
DeAndre Hopkins.
Oh yeah, D-Hop.
Yeah, who was that running back? The one that don't believe in God.
I know you're talking about the little dude. He's like Ryan Garcia. Him, yeah.
They've given away so much talent. Yeah.
Sorry, folks.
Well, we're gonna have to have a whole segment about Ryan Garcia and his roles. We're gonna have to. But they've given away so much talent. Right now, they've got the kid Strauss. Yeah. I give it 4 years before he leaves. I give him 4 years before they say something stupid, or they give him some weapons. They get to the threshold of making a Super Bowl, and then they decide to, for no reason other than fuck it, trade away all his weapons, and then expect that kid to carry the franchise. I expect him to leave. After this first contract, I give him 4 years tops before he's before he's playing in Chicago somewhere.
I don't agree with that pick, Greg, but you got good reasons for it, though.
Yeah, well, that's it. Next on my list, the Clippers. Actually, I'm going to lump these together. The Clippers, the Nets, and the Hornets. Hornets, self-explanatory. No need to even say anything further. The Nets, what they did during that 2001, what was it? The COVID season.
Yeah.
Was the worst thing that I've ever seen any franchise in a position to win do. They traded away. They kept a guy who couldn't play, and then traded away a guy for another guy who wouldn't play. When they had two MVPs and a perennial all-star on that team. And I've never seen anyone unachieve so bad.
Greg went straight Robert Downey Jr. He's like, they traded a team for a dude.
Yeah. That's exactly. Tell me that's not what they did. I've never seen anything so ridiculous in my life.
That's funny.
Especially when you're that close to winning a chip.
Let me piggyback off your Nets thing real quick because I have them down on my list too. And it's not because of the Kyrie, KD, Harden mess. It's because of when they got God forgive me, Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce gave the Celtics everything.
That was gonna be my next point. That was gonna be my exact next point.
I want what you naming for, Antoine.
Yeah. They went full Washington Commanders with that one.
Yeah.
They traded away all their young talent for guys that clearly had it, just didn't have it no more. They were done.
Shame.
So that's right. And the Clippers, you can't have a entire history of and just never make it to a Western Conference final.
Well,
like you've never made it to the game to get to the game.
Nope.
Trash. You've had very talented people. I mean, they've had some of the great, like not even, I can't even say some of the greatest. They put together some really good teams, but what they've always done is they've taken a Robin and tried to put him in a position of a Batman every time it looks like they have a decent team. I can't think of the closest thing that they've come to a guy who should be able to lead a team to a championship on their team. Their entire history of their franchise has been Kawhi Leonard. Yeah. Everyone else has been a almost guy.
Paul George.
Lamar Odom is almost the number one. Lamar Odom's almost the number one.
Lamar Odom's very good.
Paul George, almost the number one. I don't think he can be the best player in the team to do it. He's almost the number one. Chris Paul, he's almost the number one.
I give Paul George the number one.
Nope, I won't, because I've never seen it, and you'll never see it either.
Yo, he got them to the conference finals when they were like all beat up and stuff. He did his part.
Once again, almost. He's an almost guy. He's not the guy.
All right.
If Kawhi Leonard stays healthy, that can make it.
That's an oxymoron statement.
That's
never gonna happen.
Okay, and let me just those three teams, I just lumped them all in one. And my last one, Cleveland. The entire Cleveland. All of Cleveland stinks. With the exception of LeBron James coming back and doing a Superman performance to beat the greatest NBA team by record, of course, in the history of the sport. Outside of that, they have done nothing positive since Otto Graham put on a leather helmet.
Yo,
come on.
Nothing good has come out of there. Even when they had a winning team, they traded the whole team to Baltimore. The whole town, outside of Bone Thugs and Harmony, has never done anything. Except for LeBron James and Bone Thugs and Harmony. Sports-wise, they're always short. They've never been anything. It's one thing for one franchise to not win for 50 plus years, 60 plus years. The entire city? Nobody wins anything? Not hockey, football, baseball, basketball, hell, probably not even badminton. Like, there's nothing that they've done. They couldn't put together, they've got nothing in that town. The town is just a bunch of losers. They have a losing culture in that city. And I call this is the curse of Jim Brown. Ever since Jim Brown left town, without arguably the greatest basketball player, he's number one or number two. He should be number one or number two on everybody's list. LeBron James.
Oh, yeah.
That is the only way that they've ever had a shot. And actually won. Everything else, horrible. The entire city, trash when it comes to sports.
Listen, I'm going to jump in here, right? First of all, talk about losing, right? And a team that's whole identity is that. Before I even get to the Clippers, because you know I'm going to talk about them, but not much to talk about because they lose, right? The United States men's national soccer team, okay? You're talking about a group of guys that went abroad. They hired a guy in Jurgen Klinsmann in Germany, They had won World Cups. They've hired so many different people, Bruce Arena. They're a bunch of can't get rights, right? This is what we like to call it. They're 8 wins, 19 losses, and 6 draws in the World Cup. Meanwhile, one would say, I don't know, what are the women doing that they've won 4 World Cups, okay? They won 41 games, okay? They've had about 8 draws and only 4 losses, period. In many, many World Cups at the time that we've been living, okay? They got 4 wins. They've always been in contention. Why wouldn't you just go hire somebody from that side to kind of come over, hey, let's understand, what are you guys doing to win? That the men who make the most money, they get the most publicity, they get all the biggest draw, just for us to watch them go out there and look like a bunch of Jordan Pools with soccer shorts on, okay? It's terrible, all right? It's terrible. They need to be out there trying to go out and find the next LeBron James of soccer, but instead, you know, the way they kind of draft players and pull talent, I think their talent evaluation stinks. The coaching is terrible, and they just have an overall very arrogant system. And again, this is why they lose to countries you never heard of. But again, I digress. United States men's nationals team, awful. Number 2 on the list, LA Clippers. I've never seen a bunch of front running, never gonna win. All right. Celebrate everything but a banner. Okay. And Greg, he brought home the best point. And I was gonna say this, but I'm just telling you, he brought it home. You never even been to a Western Conference final. What are you celebrating? How do you have Steve Ballmer come in there like he has money on the game and his face is red and he's on the front of the court and he's shaking people and high-fiving? You're not getting out of the second round, baby. Listen, it is what it is. Every year they shoot nice commercials since they got Kawhi and Paul George. And I know they thought they outsmarted Bron, but guess what? Bron didn't quit in the bubble. Bubble is one of the hardest championships to win, right? I know people like to try to downplay it. It's not. They went out there, they won. Okay. You know what the Clippers did? All of their players voted to quit. That's what they did. They're quitters, they're losers. And do I ever think the Clippers will win? No. Listen, quitting is a habit. Michael Jordan will tell you that himself. Matter of fact, any great athlete will. But guess who won't tell you that? The Clippers. Because guess what? They probably think you know. I was about to say quitting. I called it clipping. You see? That's what I'm going to start calling quitting. You're clipping over there. Stop clipping. But that's number 2 for me. Number 3, and I mean, again, G brought this on. The Washington football team, Washington Redskins, formerly known as Washington Commanders. They're awful.
That's a great pick.
After Daniel Snyder took over, just got progressively worse. How they did RG3, it seemed like that cursed them from there. And listen, the team has just gone downhill ever since. And I mean, they've started a record number of guys at quarterback when they easily could have stopped listening to the local media and just said, hey, I don't know, we have a guy here in the front office whose job it is to go out and scout talent and scout players and not listen to, you know, the streets. And instead, that's what Washington does. And so everything from the selection of the awful name, they took 2 years to go from football team, which was actually hotter than Commanders, by the way. And that was the rebrand you came back with. And then you still have like no talent. Washington was built upon like strong offensive line play, running the ball. I don't know. Anybody that's halfway decent back there as a quarterback, they got 3 of those things. They got 3 Super Bowls, but I digress. It's a poorly run franchise. And the biggest highlight in the last 20 years is Dan Snyder, unfortunately, trying to force a cheerleader into his limo. So there it is. Washington football team in a nutshell. That is their focus. Priorities, ladies and gents. My next team like that is the New York Knicks, right? James Dolan, right? Patrick Ewing was the best thing you had come to that franchise, okay? Patrick Ewing, after he was the coach of the Georgetown Hoyas, was in the building. Security was like trying to apprehend Patrick Ewing, like, hey, you can't be back here. Wait, you don't know who this is? Dude, you not see, first of all, a 7-foot Sasquatch walking through there. Patrick Ewing, like, hey, man, like, what are we doing? You see those few banners we got up there from winning some things? Like, that's me. Nah, they didn't even know that. Why?
Like his picture's not plastered all over that damn place.
No. That's my point. I'm like, oh, how do you listen? New York Knicks, they're another one. They just can't get right. And until they shift ownership, it ain't gonna happen. My last pick, and again, I love that Greg, you know, great minds think alike. Cleveland. But not just one Cleveland team. I'm gonna talk about the baseball team, and I'm actually gonna talk about the football team, right? They just stink. Neither one can win. Okay. Perennial chokers, have great talent, and for some reason they can't get it done. They don't know why. They're almost like the 2015 Clippers. What was it, Lob City? I mean, Cancun. But no, Cleveland is just a poorly run franchise. If it wasn't for Braun bringing relevance back to the city and pulling
Cleveland
off great,
is a poorly ran city.
I'm just telling you,
What's going on here?
snow is the best thing they got for it. Shut it all down. That's what it is. So yeah,
Shut it all down.
Those are my top 5 right there.
Oh,
Yo, T,
honorable
I'm
mention
toss
to Detroit Lions.
Yeah,
They just got it together.
Yeah,
Slander.
They got
They
rid of
just
Jim
got it
Caldwell.
together.
Listen, Arizona Cardinals, lunchroom, front office.
At least they've been to a. Look, that's why I didn't put the Knicks on there on mine. At least they made it to a championship.
They did in '73, or was it like BC?
Oh, they didn't win it.
Doing?
They made it there when OJ was like riding in that white Bronco, interrupting the game. But they made it there.
Oh man, but yeah, T, what you got for us, and I'll just take us home.
Yeah, I'll be quick. So to deal with the overlap, first I got the Wizards. I mean, kind of self-explanatory. 2024. Just watch a couple games this year. That'll give you an idea of why I've got them on my list. I'll just put being local. The only reason people go to Wizards games is to see the other team. Now, if that's the case, you know that it's a.
That's facts.
Right.
All facts.
Facts.
Who's coming
Who
down
they playing? That's the first question they ask. You want to go to the Wizards game?
Who they playing?
Who they
Yeah.
playing?
Who they playing? Yeah, that is the. So you got a whole city. I got a whole state. Any professional team in North Carolina, they're just all crap. The Hornets.
Shout out to David Tepper.
The Panthers. Even the MLB team is about kind of middling, I guess. They're not terrible, but just old.
At least the Panthers made it to a Super Bowl fairly recently.
Yeah.
Cam made it to the Super Bowl.
I like it. I like it.
Cam.
Oh, Cam.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, Cam. Yes. All right. I actually got the Chicago Bears on my list.
Oh yeah.
And much of anything since
85.
Oh, really, really young. Yeah, 85.
But once again, they made it to a Super Bowl not that long ago.
85.
No, they made it to one. They didn't win.
You talking about Rex Grossman year?
Yeah, when Lovie Smith was there.
Yeah. Lovey.
Still a poorly run franchise,
Yeah,
though.
Yeah, still poorly run.
And the other two on my list are both New York football teams.
Oh, you know what?
Giants, because I don't like the ownership there. I don't like the way they decide who's going to be quarterback number one. And even though they had a quarterback that they liked back in the day, Mr. Eli, they even ruined the man's Iron Man streak. They're just
yeah, they did.
He ruined his own Iron Man streak, but go ahead.
I'm just saying, you don't
Eli can do what Danny Dimes did, is all he's saying. Like there was no need.
I agree. I don't disagree with him at all.
Yeah, I thought that was.
They were like, let's get a younger version of something that stinks.
I thought that was important. They had, Michael Vick sitting there, and then the New York Jets.
Yeah, I forgot about the Jets. That should have been on the list.
And they only seem to be just running in a circle like Homer Simpson laying on his left side, just running in a circle. Terrible, abysmal, pathetic. Now they got Aaron Rodgers there running the team for him. I mean, he's a smart guy. We'll see what he looks like when he gets back.
Who?
Aaron Rodgers. I said.
You mean the guy that wants to be vice president? Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
Well, he better not carry the flag. We see what happens when he does that, right?
Hey, man. I might sign off, man. I don't know if you want me to go after that. I might have to sign off. I don't know.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers didn't even get picked to run Jeopardy. How the hell do you think he gonna get the position to run the country? Like he needs to sit his ass down.
Aaron Rodgers could
Go
have
over
run
that
beyond
playbook.
4 plays.
I don't like it.
His Achilles told him to take a back seat after 4 plays.
Come on, guys.
At this point, I don't even know if Aaron Rodgers can win The Bachelor. Sit his ass down, focus on that Jets team, and get their ass in the playoffs. That's what he need to do.
There it is. Him and Tyrod Taylor going to be neck and neck for who missed the most games next year.
Yo, what happened there? Why is Tyrod the guy taking shots, man? Like
he signed as the backup. Come
on, man. You can't.
You know Tyrod don't make it through a whole season. Not since Virginia Tech. Listen.
Yo, that's not it, man. I don't like this, man.
Tyrod going to be taking snaps in the pregame and be like, "Oh, my neck, and my back."
Calm down, man. You know, like I said. Calm down.
Gatorade gonna be too cold for Tyrod on the sideline, but he's questionable the rest of the game. Somebody go see, can we get Zach Wilson back here?
Get Jameis Winston. He gonna be looking for a job soon.
Jameis Winston.
He signed up with Cleveland.
Yeah.
Oh, did he?
Right in the brand. Yeah.
I knew he was gone. I knew he was getting traded as soon as he did that whole "let's not do what the coach says and hand it off" shit. I knew it was a wrap for him.
Yo, that's top 5 savage moment in sports, yo. He was just like, yo, we're going to get him a touchdown.
Yeah, it's the most gangster thing ever. I mean,
he was like, what does he have to lose? Nothing.
It was
a team decision.
That was outrageous. That was what that was. That was an outrageous decision that he made.
It was a team decision.
You can't override the coach, man. Then you got the coach in the press conference looking stupid. What was that?
I mean, it's hard to do that for that coach, but again,
pretty good stuff.
You gave us your whole list there, T?
I did. Yeah, those are
take us home.
I'll be real quick. So the ones that I have listed down that have already been mentioned, the Nets, as I said before, that Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett trade. The Celtics are in prime position to win this year because of that trade, believe it or not. The Jets were mentioned. They've been a shit franchise forever. If it wasn't for Joe Namath, they probably not even be in the league. But, you know, whatever. The Browns, need I say more? I mean, it's in the name. You know, EA Sports. You know what I mean? Wow. 2 that haven't been mentioned. One of them's personal. The other one is quite possibly the worst run franchise in American sports. I'll go with the personal one first, and that's the T-Wolves. Anytime you have a draft where you pick Ricky Rubio and Johnny Flynn, anytime that you violate so that you can't get any more draft picks to get Joe Smith, not that he was bad. This is not racist, praise the Lord. But you did that to get Joe Smith. You know what I'm saying? It's bad stuff. If you didn't get A-Rod up there, God knows what would have happened.
Actually, Joe Smith is like this close to being on that bus list.
He was on my honorable mention, yo.
Yeah, Joe Smith. He in college, he was that dude, but man. I'm sorry, go ahead.
The worst team, in my opinion, in this United States American sports is the Oakland A's. The Oakland A's are so poorly run
I like it.
that fans went to the game to tell the team to leave the town. That's how bad Oakland A's were run.
That's real?
That's real.
Yeah, that was way back in the day, though.
That wasn't way back in the day. That was last year. They said
that was last year.
Last year they was
I thought that was the stuff that went on right before Reggie Jackson. They had a team back in the day. That's why I can't give it to them. But
dude,
as of recently, yeah, you're right.
The Oakland A's invented Moneyball because they did not want to spend money. That's where the Billy Bean thing came from. And
analytics.
Off of that, spun off of that, they were like, yo, we want a new stadium and Mexico's gonna pay for it. And I was like, yo, we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna do that. Oakland was like, we're not gonna do that. They were like, fine, we'll just go to Vegas. They're like, fine, go to Vegas. They literally had a game. The highest attended game this year. Not attended well, praise the Lord. Was when people went in there. Was like, yo, sell the team. Sell the team.
Wow.
Oakland A's, look it up. Awful. The shittiest franchise in American sports. That's all I gotta say.
Well, ladies and gents, as you can see, this is why it drives us crazy. Listen, we had Aj, T, Greg. It's your host, Smallwood Worldwide. And listen, it's always we over me. But unlike the Clippers, we don't have a natural allegiance to losing, and neither should you. We'll catch you again sooner than you think on a new edition of The Random, more specifically, TakeOff Sports Talk. Peace.